can do the Bruce Buffer. All right.
Mr. Buffer himself.
So we're locked in. Myself, Max, Dave, the Wave, the fresh locked in T.
That's me.
Producer Sean.
What up?
JT Money, co-producer.
What up?
But now we have two even better people than all of us. We have Taylor Samantha White, the next big thing, and Coach Pete White himself, the legend, in the studio.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening.
What is going on? Yeah, the Godfather himself.
I don't know about all that, but that sounds good.
I call you the kingpin of MMA. That's what I call you. It's just anyone you talk to, it's like, yeah, Coach Pete, their gym is amazing, and it's like, oh, Coach Pete, I knew for 20 years. It's like, who don't you know? That's probably my first question of the day: is who don't you know?
I don't know, man. I just do my thing, and I just keep going every day, and I just happen to see people all over the place. So it's pretty good, though. It's a nice feeling to be able to talk to everybody and see everybody everywhere I go. It's nice.
Awesome. I have a written down introduction. So I have a huge tendency of forgetting people to think of a locked in. So you guys have been on here before, but a locked in is just a bold prediction. It could be anything. It could be related to you, the gym, sports, the Patriots will win next year, anything. So throughout the show, we'll talk about a numerous amount of things, but at the end is our locked in. I remember.
Max, you're getting good at
I
this.
know. I'm writing things down now. I'm organized.
Banner, you're getting good, Max. I like
Hey, that's
this.
JT Money. I'm not taking credit for that beautiful banner. That is beautiful, though.
So, Taylor, you had a busy weekend?
Yeah,
You
can
do
say
anything?
that.
Have you had a chance to actually reflect and look at your fight, or have you just been soaking it in, or are you just training and ready for the next one?
Honestly, yesterday I went back into the gym and I probably watched it like 50 times.
Really?
I couldn't believe I
I've
did
seen
that.
it double-digit times, I swear. I've watched it at least 10 to 12 times.
I don't know. It just I trained so hard for that and waited months and months, and so many opponents pulled out, and then being to go in there and do it, it was just, that was everything I wanted and more, and I couldn't be any happier with it.
Can you take us through the fight? So obviously you had a chance to watch it,
Yeah.
and it was exactly as you expected. Was
Yeah.
it different? It was just picture perfect.
It was just, I mean, as soon as I stepped in the cage, I just wanted to cry. I couldn't believe, wow, I waited since I was 16 to fight MMA, and I finally got to do it, and it lasted a minute. But I didn't even think about it going to decision.
You want to get in and out of there clean and as easy as possible. That's lucky. That's good.
I didn't even think about it going to the next round. I didn't think about it going to the ends. I didn't think about staying there for that long. As soon as I got in there, I waited, and I was patient. And then when I was pacing back and forth, waiting for her to walk in, I just thought about all the people that have helped me and have supported me and brought me to where I was. There's no way I could let those people down. So I went in the fight, and as soon as they said go, the first thing I thought about was kill. I just wanted to go in there. I just wanted to hit as hard as I could, as fast as I could.
I have two things. First is, Dave, are you super tall today? What shirt are you using? I'm looking over and I'm we're all looking eye to eye, and I'm looking up at Dave.
A little barstool.
Okay.
And the hair's a little tall today,
Okay,
too.
all right. So that's the first thing. Second, so you weren't nervous at all? You just felt ready?
I felt nervous every single fight, but I had no nerves. I was just so ready to fight. I was so ready to go.
And this is your biggest fight today. It's your debut. You mentioned you turned 18. I know you wanted to fight so bad because you turned 18, but you had an opponent pull out, another opponent pull out, and then you finally had this fight. And you have no nerves.
No.
That's a scary thing.
I was so happy.
She was in the zone, that's for sure. I could see it in the locker room. I was hitting pads with her, and she was kind of just zoning in and out.
So you can kind of say that she was locked in?
Yeah,
Oh.
she was. And then I pulled her out for a minute. I stopped hitting pads, and I'm like, all right, listen, snap out of it, focus. Let's just get back in the game. Just go in there and have fun. Just have fun. You've been waiting so long for this. Just have fun. So
It was fun. It was definitely fun.
How much did this fight mean to you, Coach, knowing that this is Taylor's first fight, like you said, and there's been so many obstacles and bumps in the road to actually get her a fight, and now you finally have one. How much did it mean to you to watch her fight?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. Over these years, I don't know how many fighters I've put into a ring, cage, and everything else over all these years. How many fighters have actually done it? And that's, her brother was one of my first ones when I trained him to box, and it was great. And sometimes people just don't, they grow out of it. If you push them too hard, you push them away from it. But So it didn't work out, with him. He just kind of faded out and did his own thing. And then now her stepping up in there, it turned into like, oh, here she goes. And that's one. And she'll, I have a lot of great fighters, but she's going to stand out. She's going to be big.
Your son was a beast. I don't know if you remember. I trained with him at the Armory.
Yeah.
And he would tear. That's my next question. So I always remember there was a little girl who used to train. Was that you?
That's her.
Yeah.
So I've known you for longer than I even thought. I was talking to Dave, and I'm like, yeah, there was a little girl training hitting the bag, and that was you this entire time.
Yeah,
So
everyone overlooked me, and then
So I've
I
known
came
you
out.
for years. I've known you for
boy.
years. I just never knew it.
Yeah.
So
It's like a Cinderella story.
I know. I'm like, I saw her
She
when
was-
she was little.
She was the one in the gym that was always, go stand over there. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Always.
And now you're the next big thing.
It's crazy.
It's coming. The fighter who you fought, she was 43.
Yeah.
I kind of like.
I didn't even have any idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't to be honest with you, they told me they had an opponent for her. I didn't even care who it
Yeah.
was, what it was, or whatever. I said, as long as you guarantee me they're going to show up,
Yeah.
we're coming.
And I was like, I had no doubt Taylor was going to win. I had zero doubt.
Mhm.
But Pete, I know you know that there's a thing called father strength,
Yep.
mother strength, right?
Yeah.
When she was 43, I was like, we're watching it at home. Colin was into it. The wife
Yep.
was into it. She was like so excited. She's like, wow, she's 43. That's a
Yeah.
legitimate thing. 43-year-old
grown woman.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
grown woman. So I was
Yeah.
like, wow. I'm like, I honestly thought going into, I'm like, oh, Taylor's going to win, but there's going to be some kind of give and take a little bit, just
Yeah.
feeling her out. Taylor goes right through her, just right through her. I was like, God dang.
I didn't anticipate it going any other way, to be honest with
Really?
you. I just
that's great.
for her size and she's extremely strong.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did is I looked at Anderson and I said, man, I'm never going to get this kid a fight now. And it's the truth. It's hard to get fights. I mean, we went up in weight class and they pulled out, and we've gone against people with bigger 4 or 5 fights, and we just can't get the fight. So they'll come.
Do you see yourself changing your style based on your opponent, or are you one of the fighters that just focuses on you?
I do my thing. I go in
I
there.
like that. I like
and everyone thinks that all I have is boxing, and all I know is how to box. And I know so much more than boxing. I have trained so hard in jiu-jitsu, and in my ground game completely. I mean, you can ask Michael or Anderson. It's changed so much, and I've worked so hard for it. And I didn't get to show it on that fight, obviously, but I'm not going to go on my way to try to pull somebody to the ground to prove a point to people.
I was about to say that's, again, not a bad issue to have. You just finished it so quick you didn't get to show anything else. But that's incredible. What is it like coaching, Taylor? So when you coach different fighters, the same thing for basketball. You don't always coach the same person the same way because people respond differently. How do you coach Taylor?
I coach every single fighter differently because every single fighter needs a different thing.
Yeah.
It's all mental. So some of them are more mental, some of them are less mental, but you have to push them and stuff. So I'll push her, and I don't give her she gets no slack because she's my kid, none. I push her harder actually than I do most of the other ones. So, but I stay in her. I said, listen, if you want to do this, then you're going to do it right and go hard. I drive her to Orlando. She'll work with Mitchell Chamali down there. Mitchell's been, because he's a 125er, so he works with her. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, works wrestling with her, takedowns, takedown defense, all that stuff. He's got his own little gym set up in his house. And we go there, the Guillotine Factory, and thank you, Mitchell, for everything you do
Thank
for
you
her.
so much.
Hannah Goldie, everybody, she trains with everybody. So
She had a great performance as well in Island Fights, right?
Yeah.
yeah, she did. Hannah's awesome, man. She's definitely a role model and a leader in the women's MMA right now. So, and she's like my own daughter too, And
The king of MMA. I told you this, the kingpin. It's ridiculous.
It's a tree. It's like when you go to Animal Kingdom at Disney. it's that big
Everything
tree in
has
the
to do
middle,
with Coach
people
Pete at the top.
It all just springs down.
There's so many good guys out there, so many great coaches and stuff. We're just blessed, and I know how to build a fighter. So okay, well I can teach her to box. She got Coach John working her kicks. She got Mitchell working her jiu-jitsu, Anderson working her jiu-jitsu, Michael working her jiu-jitsu, her wrestling.
Holy crap.
We've
That's a
got.
dream team right there.
I mean, you get the best of the best. What else do you need?
So
And she dedicates. That's the important part. She commits. She trains 2-3 times a day. She's next door at Richard's training, doing strength and conditioning a couple
strength.
times a way with Richard Pinelli, the best in the business. So she's the one that puts in the time. So that's it. We'll keep feeding her.
what would you say the most important aspect is in a fighter? So you obviously have coached, you can't even count how many fighters. Is it just the hard work and dedication and passion you think is the most important? Because that's clearly something you have. So beyond the talent, you just have the dedication and love for the game.
It's the dedication. I have so many talented fighters, and I have a lot of kids that come in and out of the gym, and they're extremely, extremely talented. But if they don't want it, or I can't want it for them, they have to want it.
You can't instill that into people.
That's it.
So we're at dinner. What are we talking about at dinner? At the dinner table, we're talking about Pete White's gym and the fighters, and we're talking about Taylor. And it came up, not to blow smoke up your butt, just your work ethic and the character that you have, the humbleness. You can't teach it. These are just traits you have or you don't have, and you have it in spades. We just talk nothing but high praise about you. We're excited. We're excited for the future. It's just you can't instill good work ethic into people. You have it or you don't.
Yeah, and when I'm in Pensacola at Michael's fight, we're up there at Island Fights and stuff, and then I'm sitting around waiting for weigh-ins or waiting for the fight or whatever, and then Taylor sends me a message and sends me a picture washing dishes in the kitchen at her job. She's like, I'm doing this now, but I'm not going to, this is something I'm going to work hard for, so I don't have to keep doing this for the rest of my life.
I feel the same way when I make boxes.
Yep.
I swear, I'm like, give me a couple of years, and I'll be taking everyone with me, but we'll be somewhere else.
That's
I
it.
promise that.
I think that all the time. Like, I have, my car is like 20 years old, and it has duct tape on the side because the window doesn't go up. It's horrible.
I had the same thing. Doesn't start.
No,
It's
horrible.
I'm like, okay.
And I just tell myself, like, anytime I get upset, I'm just like, it's temporary. It's so temporary.
And that's what makes you unique. So when you have a fighter who's used to all the riches and having everything brought to them, when you fight them and then when you elevate, you'll always have that with you too. I remember when I had to struggle to do this or do that. And that's just something,
that's
like
what
Dave said,
makes
it's
you.
just you have.
It's just the bad part of the book. That's all it is. Just the bad chapter.
Your gym, and we say this all the time, you guys literally have the next big thing. You have Michael Davis, you have Chris, you have Anderson, you have Coach John. And I'm sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, but you guys have a handful of people that we could argue will just make it big. Yeah. And that makes your gym so unique.
There's so much talent. It's crazy. And like I said, the ones that want it, they're there. They ask, they put in work, and they want more and more and more. And I'll take them as far as they want to go. You know what I mean? Michael came 3 or 4 years ago, and he's like, I need some fights, this and that. I said, okay, let's go. So I started fighting. Last week was our 10th walk to the ring together. I've done between pro boxing
and the UFC.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was actually
that's awesome.
Michael was supposed to fight yesterday on the Austin card. He was
really,
but we couldn't make. It was too much for him to try and make weight that fast. So he was supposed to fight the kid that Brandon Michael Davis fought last night, which I heard was a hell of a fight.
It was awesome.
So Michael was supposed to fight that kid.
Oh, that kid has a chin for days. But
yeah, so we turned.
That would be point.
Not that I turned it down, but we couldn't. There was no way I could push him to fight last Thursday, then make weight cut down to 145 and begin this way. So we're basically just waiting. We listen. I have. Myself, we have Abe Kawa from First Round Management, Dean Toole and Ian Valencia and all these guys, the whole crew of people that we have pushing for Michael. It's just a matter of time when Sean Shelby just picks whichever card we're going to be on. I would love
the Brooklyn, right?
I would love for it to be Brooklyn, be on that undercard of Khabib Ferguson. That's the one I want. You hear me, Abe? So
we've been saying that since day one. We're gonna go if that's the case. We're gonna book tickets. We want to do a live event at UFC.
The worst thing is, we do have an event planned at my house. We have chicken tenders. We got the whole thing. The wife's cooking and everything. But it's like if Michael gets on the card, it's like, all right, guys, party in Brooklyn.
So, I'm trying for that one, but whatever it is, it is. Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of time, and he'll take over the 145 division. Like Abe Kawa, head of our First Round Management there. He says, Michael Davis is the new John Jones of the UFC. And it's true. There's nobody at featherweight that's going to stop him. It'll be just a matter of time.
We were talking to Mike. He was in the studio about the fight. And it was like, okay, not only did he crush the kid, he crushed his ribs with those body shots. So he could have easily just stood up and strike with him, but instead picks him up, slams him on the ground, and just destroyed him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
I mean, it's just.
He didn't get hit one time. We actually asked him, he's like, no, I don't think I did get hit.
They tell you when you sit down. I sit at Dean's desk, at his office in the Island Fight headquarters up there, and he was going through. He showed me a notebook like you have here, and it's just one page front and back. There's probably 45 names on there of kids throughout the entire country that wouldn't fight Michael. All 145ers, 150, 155ers.
They're not fighting
We
him.
went all the way up to. We went to 155. Everybody's like, "Well, what are you doing fighting at 155?" Nobody will fight him. I mean, if they got a big record, they don't want to take a fight against a guy that's got a smaller record because it doesn't make any business sense. And then, if they're the smaller guys trying to build themselves up, they don't want to fight Michael anyway either. So it is what it is. Props to everybody. Everybody's trying to get ahead in this game, and that's cool. But Michael's just on that level.
I have a theory. If you commit, and we've talked about it with Mike, we talked about it with you when you were training, you came down here. What do you think if a fighter commits to a match? So it's not like they didn't commit. They already committed to a match. It's like the weigh-ins, and then somebody backs out. Shouldn't that cost a loss on the record? Because a lot of fighters build up their record, it would affect them.
Okay, but there's so many circumstances to that.
Like if you have a broken leg, I understand.
Right, but I see boxers or MMA guys or whatever, they pull out of fights, they don't want to fight. Well, dehydration. So all they have to do is go to the hospital, say they're dehydrated. They hook up IV bags to them. They get a receipt from the emergency room saying that they were treated.
Yeah.
And then that's a medical condition, so they cover their butt so they don't. Otherwise, yeah, I think if guys are going to pull out of fights, which happens, some guys show up to weigh-ins and then don't come back. Well, if you don't do that, then the commission can go after you and they could suspend you because you've signed a contract, a binding contract.
Suspension's probably.
So that's up to the commission to do.
Going to get out that.
Yeah.
He's a pull out of a fight, or she's a pull out of a fight.
And promoters don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Sooner or later it happens, and the higher you up, the UFC usually it's just major injuries. Usually guys don't want fights. Yeah. Luke Rockhold just fought Yoel Romero 3 pounds heavier. He didn't have to. He could have said no, but at that top end level, they want to fight. Yeah. They know it's going to elevate their career and their.
The fighting is all great, but in the end of the day, you're an entertainer.
Sure.
So you're there to entertain.
Tickets.
Yeah, people. Yeah. You're there to entertain people. If you're not there to fight and you're not going to compete or whatever, then you're not an entertainer. Then what do they need you for?
Sure.
So that's just it.
I was going to say the last time we were all kind of together, it was around November-ish in your gym. We had a live podcast. It was awesome. Mike, Dimitri from Fit Meals, Anderson, John. It was great. And you were so, hey, Dave, Max, we got this lined up, this lined up, this lined up.
Oh, man.
We went through it. I know it's been a crazy 8-10 weeks for you.
Exhausting.
Traveling every Saturday, something, multiple events. John's like, we had Copperline Coffee together. John's like, I had to do this in Melbourne, and Pete was this way. And you guys are crisscrossing. How has been the last 10 weeks? All the fights, and kind of what's next? What's the next 8-10 weeks for you guys?
It's been crazy, and as much as I'm happy that we got our fights in and everything, I'm glad that after this weekend had just passed that I can catch my breath for a minute.
Sure.
We got some new breed tournaments coming up here, some jiu-jitsu tournaments that we're probably going to get involved in. March 25th, I got 4 or 5 guys that are amateur fighting here in Daytona for Elite Muay Thai's boxing fight at the Hilton.
Okay.
Then the weekend after is the 31st. I have USA boxing fights down in Kissimmee at Joey Ramos's fights. Then the weekend after that is April 7th, which is Mitchell Chamali. He's going to have a Pro-Am MMA show in Orlando.
Orlando Live Events.
And that's her next fight. She'll be on that.
Chris, that's the next question.
Chris Mixon. We'll put those guys on that card and stuff. So
we're talking about Chris. And we talked with John.
He's our guy.
He boxed like Conor McGregor. And I know I'm the biggest Conor McGregor homer. And John agreed with me, so I'm not crazy. The way he distanced and his range was amazing, and the way he set up his punches, he annihilated that kid.
Yeah, Chris is he's kind of like a younger Michael at this point, where he's just got that natural talent.
Yeah,
but,
it's insane.
But he never stops working. He's never stopped. I mean, even when he's not in the gym, he's at a gym in Palm Coast or Benell up there, or wherever it is that he's training at all night. You see him on Snapchat until 10, 11 o'clock at night.
He's hooked on Snapchat.
He's a Snapchat kid. And Snapchat's great if you're doing that with your buddies. But you know what? You got to have Facebook. You got to have Instagram. You got to have that stuff because you're building your own brand. You're, like I said, you're an entertainer. if nobody knows who you are, then what good is it?
I've been Facebook since day one.
You've been Facebook since I jumped your ass.
Facebook since P. White got you on Facebook.
Do you see yourself now sticking to MMA or just boxing, or do you still want to do both? I know it's a tough question.
Yeah, I love boxing. Boxing will always be my favorite thing. That will always have my heart. But I see myself going a lot further with MMA. I love the challenge. I love learning something new. It's nothing like boxing. Not even close. I mean, yeah, you punch, but it's not like punching in boxing. And
Do you enjoy boxing more, but you just want to go further in MMA?
That's such a hard question. I love both.
You love both. Yeah.
I love both, and I've met so many amazing people from boxing and so many people from MMA. Like, I feel like I could go either way if I wanted to, honestly.
And what is it like having Coach Pete in your corner? Like, when you go to a fight, you have the coaching advantage. Like, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, but just the passion you have for the sports, boxing, and MMA.
It's like the Brady Belichick.
Yeah,
it's
like you just know you
advantage.
have somebody that's invested in you and will definitely steer you in the right direction. How is that like night after night, fight after fight? Is that just such a huge weight off your shoulder?
Yeah, I trust him 100%. And I'm not just saying that because he's my dad, but I've seen what he can do, what he's done, and he's put so much time into all of this. I mean, we started at a freaking park when I was 9 years old. We started at a park.
Crazy. I saw the video on Facebook when you went to her classroom to hold the mitts. I'm like, it does
I was
not
in fifth
get better than
grade.
that. Like, that's something you see in the UFC countdown when they're like, Taylor's been doing this since she was little. And
two and a half years away for that.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, like, you're hitting mitts in a classroom. Like, come on.
I know.
Now.
We had like one bag hanging from a tree. I mean, we had nothing. Like, we lived in a van for like all year.
We had to get everything going down there and trying to get ourselves together. And I had kids coming after school. They would just show up to the park down in Whistle Stop Park in Edgewater. They'd show up down there, 20, 30 kids every day after school.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
We just worked, just kept going.
So what's I think you already asked this question, like what's coming up next for the gym? Like, is there any big dates coming up besides we have Taylor's next fight and Chris's? Is there anything else?
Basically, I'm waiting on the phone to ring for Michael Davis, and
How about Anderson?
Anderson, I got a couple of different leads on Anderson right now, so I'm just waiting for some reason I've just had one thing after another fall out for him for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
It's just one thing after
was
another
telling
just
us that
keeps
too.
falling out. So I'm trying to lock him down on several different shows, but of course we're waiting to see if Dean Toole's going to bring us up there with Anderson, and he was saying he wanted to work Anderson next, so we'll Michael's pretty much done up there.
Sure.
But we'll move Anderson in. He's 6-1. He's on that verge of going to the big show as well. So we're just me and Anderson keep having a discussion back and forth. Whether he's going to do 135 or 145, or if we have to catch at 140. He's done that a couple times. He's made 135 twice, but he's never competed because of an opponent or something pulling out. So he's never actually got the chance to compete.
He feels in there at 135.
Yeah. So
do you have any idea or like what weight class you think he's probably best at or will perform best?
I'd like him at 135, but we'll see. I need him to fight at 135 so I can feel him out. But I know he's okay at 145 too. He can fight at 145. He's just when you got a guy that fights and he fights once. We fought 4 or 5 times in the first 2 years, and then all of a sudden we're fighting once a year for the next 2 years because he had both knees operated on. He had, things just happen and stuff goes that way. So now it's a matter of, okay, we got to knock the rust off, get you back in, and let's get going here because we're right on that verge. And, Michael's 25, Anderson's 31, but Anderson still goes good with everybody. The guys go down to Fusion XL on Saturday and they spar. I try to go down there when I can. You got everybody down there working with you.
That gym's a beast.
So, and it's just, you got the good guys there in the gym, but you also have all the guys coming from all over Florida because it's kind of like our central point for everybody to meet at. So, that when you go in there on Saturday morning and you got 30, 40 guys in there and you have to do rotations because there's not enough room, it's great. It's great work, but I go down there. I love seeing my brother, Mark Nicholson. That's my bro. So I spend a lot of time when I can with him, and with Alex since he was a little amateur. So we kind of started a long journey together. But
we got to do a Nicholson family with Pete in.
oh boy,
That's the next
Again,
thing.
the kingpin
Yeah,
of MMA.
and like, we'll talk nothing. We'll just talk about movies and books. And we'll
Did you
just
see
do
the Black Panther
how
movie?
was that?
Yeah, I did.
Was it not amazing?
It was
I
good.
thought it was good.
It was amazing.
I thought it was good.
I'm not over exaggerating. I think it's a 9.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's just me.
It's a really good movie. Michael B. Jordan, the bad guy of the
Yeah.
movie. He's to me.
I
he's
haven't
the best
seen it
part.
yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought so too.
Oh,
Won't spoil anything. It's just an amazing movie. That's all.
Yeah, no.
He
No
turns
spoiler
into the
alerts.
Black Panther.
I thought it was gonna be like Pink Panther, like it's like a heist movie, right? Like
Something like that. You're
Oh
close.
man.
But we're going to have to, if Anderson fights at Island Fights, we're going to have to go.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have to
We started doing this. The first
Well-
we had Anderson. Now we had Titan FC tickets.
Well, I'm waiting for Anderson. I mean, it could be
There you
Titan.
go.
It could be whoever's going to come up with the fight for us. We just need to fight, And
That's
we've
right.
had a couple of things. Anderson got hurt or couldn't make weight or whatever at the time when we were offered fights for Titan. Titan's always been good to us.
Yeah.
We'll do our thing, but I just need him a fight. So if somebody wants, to get with me, we'll try and work it out and we'll see if we can get him back in the cage or the ring or whatever. Let's get moving.
Do you think that's a like you mentioned, fighters do pull out because they get injured when you're
It
just
happens.
training extremely hard.
There's
all the time.
It's 100% injury rate.
Yeah. So is that just something you've grown accustomed to, or is there something to fix that? I just feel like that must be the most disappointing thing. You have a whole training
It
camp, and
is.
then all of a
It
sudden,
just-
no more.
It's
It
like
happens,
a freak
man.
accident.
It happens. It's disappointing. Listen, I had Michael's first fight with Island Fights a year ago, and we get ready to fight Shannon Williams, and first thing he gets popped. It pops his rib, so we had to pull out of the fight. I was like, oh my god, you got to be kidding me! Waited so long to get him in there, and then so we waited. And luckily, like 3 months later, they had another Island Fights, and then Shannon still agreed to fight Michael, so we went back up and we fought him on the second attempt.
That was actually writing down on notes. Do you like how Anderson and Michael could be both 145s? So, God forbid something happens or slides in that Anderson can jump in, Michael can jump in, short notice, late notice. Is that something you like, or it's like, guys, Anderson, go 135, dominate.
you guys to fight each
Michael,
other.
Yeah.
I like to be able to see the domination. Anderson
Sure, okay, there
Anderson
you go.
at 135 is like Michael at 145.
There you go.
Michael
Okay.
Michael is a ridiculous freak at 145 to be as big as he is and as powerful as he is. There's nobody with the strength that he has at 145.
I told him, and I told John.
Real quick, Anthony shouted us out on Facebook Live. So what's up? Undisputed Fight Night.
My
We're
man.
coming after you.
What up, T? What's going on, baby?
Anthony, me and you in a ring, headline. Undisputed. No, fine.
Ah!
I'm playing.
I got
But,
back to the second.
My friend is like 215, plays football. He said he saw Mike Davis. I'm taking this over here too.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, I know. All you guys are doing. I'm the only one that's doing this. So. No, but Mike Davis is lifting the weight that a 215 football player is, and he's strong. Like he lifts
Yeah.
heavier than people who are 285. And he's like, "Well, what weight class do you think he's fighting at?" And he's like, 180, 170. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He can just throw these people out of the ring.
Well, he goes down there, when he goes to Fusion or to ATT Orlando over at Paul Rodriguez's place, and sometimes he'll jump in there and I see him going with the Jacare or something like that. I'm like, Jacare's 220. Michael's walk around weight is, walking around at 167, 168 when he's heavy.
Really?
When he's
That's
heavy.
heavy.
And he's
When he's
holding
heavy.
his own.
And he holds his own, yeah, but I don't want him going with guys that big. Because then you get a popped rib or whatever,
Sure.
you know what I mean? We don't need to go with guys that big. But he goes with Mike Perry, and Mike is 170, but when he's not cutting weight, he's 190, 195, 200 pounds. And Mike is a monster. He's strong
He
as
is.
hell. But
UFC,
those
Orlando.
two are the best training partners together. They push the hell out of each other. Mike Perry and Mike
I would
Davis.
love to see the footage.
Oh.
Just,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
someone needs to film it and just show me. I won't show anybody else.
Yeah.
Just let me see it.
They
It's like a
work
free
hard
pay-per-view.
together. And then, Anderson's down there, and he's going with everybody, too. He's, like I said, Anderson at 135 is kind of like Michael at 145. I think he's huge for 135. It's a strong push for him to make 135.
So there's definitely cons to rolling with someone that's bigger than you, like injury. But when you do come out healthy and you fight somebody your weight, it's like nothing.
Yeah.
It's like nothing because he threw that kid.
Listen, Michael at 155 can throw people around.
Yeah, I'm not sugarcoating anything.
But-
He slammed that guy in his neck. Like,
But
it
they
was
want,
just-
we want to start at
Is that-
145 in the UFC, and I feel strongly that Michael can take the world title at 145 within 2 years, and then we'll go up to 155, and we'll take that one too.
you should have saved that for your locked in. That would have been the best locked in.
That's not a locked in. That's just a given.
I like it. I saw the post with Sean Shelby.
Yeah,
He better have looked at that.
he does. He knows. They know what's going on. Trust
do?
me, Abe talks to Sean all the time.
Okay, I
So
hope
they
so
know.
because
That's
it's
their
just
job is to be on that. That's their job is to know who Michael Davis is.
you better be
It
watching
is.
this.
What's up, Sean?
We talked UFC. Can we just? I want some UFC topics. Can we get into that?
Sure. I was going to throw out Taylor that she can throw out her sponsors.
Yeah,
her
please do that. I'm
Facebook
sorry, yes.
page,
Oh,
her
boy, we don't have all
T-shirts.
night.
You got a couple.
You need to come
whatever
with
you do to
something-
make more money, we want Taylor to make as much money or as much sponsorship as possible. So, definitely throw out that. And then, Max, the floor is yours. You can go UFC.
I have one recommendation. You should have something in your wallet and just
Ooh.
list the
I
paper and
know.
just
It's like
just
laminated.
falls
I know.
straight down to the
And
floor.
I
You
feel
can
so
just write, I want to
bad.
thank.
I have the worst memory ever, so I feel like even worse when people like ask me something. All right, I know I'm gonna forget someone.
And
so
real,
the ones you mentioned are just that.
real quick, we do have a Facebook question for Taylor.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Producer, you shout it out.
Anthony wants to know: do you still plan on boxing? Like,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm gonna box. I'm
Yeah.
definitely
100%, Anthony.
100%.
By the way, now that before you mention your sponsors, one last thing, I swear, the Locked In community.
Yes.
Make sure you guys check it out so we could debate. I have my debates of the day I've been putting on my feed, but we got to do it on Locked In community, and we'll get into the debate of the day. So Locked In community, it's a group page, Locked In page like that.
I plan
Made you
on
proud?
her boxing, doing MMA, jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff like that. And then if I can slip a wrestling camp in there, here and there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the base of a pyramid for MMA in my
Yeah.
book. Is
Yeah.
just if you could
Yep.
dictate where the fight goes, that's
Yep.
the most important.
Sooner or later up the ladder, you're going to face a badass wrestler. Sooner or later, if you're going to want to be a world heavyweight champion, you need to handle
Affects your
yourself
striking
wrestling.
too.
Yeah.
So
I'm
but
sorry. Go ahead.
Taylor,
Sponsors.
floor is
Let's
yours.
go.
We're to put down the mic back.
I want to thank Team Fake Gear. You're amazing. They're the nicest people I've ever met. They're really nice. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting them in person, but just talking to them, like they're so nice. Dimitri at Fit Meals, he's the man. You want to lose some weight? Go to Dimitri. Elite Strength and Performance right next door. Richard, you were so nice, and I'm so thankful I get to work with you. C's Waffles, Becky and Josh, I love you guys. Thunder Fight Night, you guys are amazing. They've been with me since day one. I appreciate you guys. Best Believe, Jess, I love you guys. You guys are definitely family. Winners Bar, Jeff and Nina, you guys always been family for years and years. Repairs on a Dime, thank you guys so much. NSB Spine, I love Donnie. I've known Donnie since the Armory. It's a long time, like 9 years. The good old days.
I think the days are a lot better now.
Yeah.
It's just a slogan. I don't mean it.
It's crazy.
Jeepers.
I can't
You
believe
and
it.
your slogans.
Oh, hold on a second.
No problem.
I knew that was
Penny
it.
Smith, I appreciate you. MJ, Combat Night, Mitchell, you've become family the past couple months, and I'm so thankful I get to work with someone so talented that's been around the game for a long time.
And he's got a nice beard, too.
Nice beard.
Rocky Moore, appreciate you. I appreciate everyone, all my coaches. John, I've known him for like 2 years, and John is the nicest person.
He's the best.
You know, unless you annoy him, and then he gets so mad sometimes, and it's just so funny. But I love John.
Whoa, you got a Mad John story? We're listening.
I know.
We're
All right,
listening.
one time.
Did you say Batman wasn't good? Did you say that?
No, I like Batman. That's why we get along. But we were drilling one time a combination with a kick at the end, and I kept kicking him in the body for some reason because I couldn't reach his head. And he was like, "Taylor, kick my head, my head." And he
He's only 6'5".
Yeah, I was like, "John, I can't do it. I can't reach."
Yelling at
Anderson.
Colin. He was like 5 years old. He's in the ring. He's like, Colin, get my head.
Yep.
I'm like, John, he's
Yeah.
5, but he's not gonna
John's-
get there yet.
He's the best though. He'll work
We
with you
love
for
John.
he'll work hours and hours, and he has so much patience. I don't know how he does it. but-
He's passionate about it. Just
Oh, yeah.
talking.
Oh
to
yeah.
him.
Oh,
You talked 2
Oh, yeah.
hours. We had to cut it at 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, John, it's 2 hours.
I
It's
know.
midnight. We gotta go.
Yeah.
I
home.
could talk to John for hours, and he's so funny. We
He's a
talk-
blessing. He's one of the biggest blessings I've ever had in
Yeah.
my life to help me.
That's awesome.
Is John. John, I love him. He's like my own son or everything. And I couldn't think of a better person to pass on my knowledge and anything, my connections, anything to him. Him. He's
He's awesome.
everything.
Anderson. I mean, I've known Anderson since I've started fighting. He's like a big brother to me, and I'm so thankful that, he's still around. He still works with me. His girlfriend Sarah, she's my best friend, and I love her too. Hannah and Alex, she's my sister, and I'm thankful I have someone talented like her, to look up to. That seeing her journey, I know I'm gonna follow right in those footsteps. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Who else?
We got another Facebook question real quick, just to interrupt. Sean?
Well, I've got the first thing. Dimitri chimed in right as you were starting. He said, "I've got you locked in." Taylor White. Next big thing is an understatement.
Wow.
And then there was a question from Anthony to Pete. He goes, "Who's your top 5 active welterweight boxers?"
Oh boy,
Let me be here all
On the
night.
spot.
Miguel Cruz. That's my number one.
I like that.
Miguel is my boy. I love that kid, man. That kid's. I've never seen somebody with so much heart and desire to be successful. I love that kid. Let's see, who else we got? Keith Thurman. Then you got. Mayweather's retired, so we don't have to worry about him anymore.
He's done. Retired.
Yeah.
And he's not
Agreed.
going to MMA. So let's just talk.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anthony,
What was he
is-
doing in the octagon?
Anthony, am I not mistaken? You fight at 147 too. So I believe so. I'd have to include Anthony into that as well. I'm trying to think of who else. I'm drawing blanks at the division right now, and the division's so deep it's ridiculous.
We're all
Timothy
researching.
Bradley?
No, Bradley's
Sean
Bradley's
Porter?
done. Sean Porter's okay, but
Danny Garcia?
Danny's okay as well, but he can be beat.
Alvarez?
Yeah, Alvarez is good. There's
I'm
some.
gonna have to step in there, I guess. Or John Blanks.
Michael Davis?
Yeah,
Michael-
that's something he said though. He did want to be a boxing and UFC champion.
Well,
He
and
said that
this
was
is
one of the first things he said to you. He goes, Pete, I want to be a world champion boxer and MMA fighter.
when Michael came to me. We discussed all this stuff, and we discussed it right out in the open, right from the beginning. So we started with an amateur boxing fight, which was on Anthony's show, and that was his first and only amateur boxing fight, and he won a decision against a kid that had 28 amateur fights and was a very good fighter, and Michael won his decision on his first amateur boxing fight.
Holy crap.
Golly, that's crazy.
That's huge. to have
So,
experience
so
like
we
that.
did that, and then he wanted to turn. He was ready to turn pro in MMA, and I said, I want to take one amateur MMA fight, and let's fight, and just so that we can get used to each other before I turn you pro."
Yeah.
And he was kind of like let down and disappointed at first, but he listened, and we went and we fought for the 155 title for Breakthrough MMA, and he fought a very, very tough kid, Jeremiah McDougal, and he had a first round submission. On that, and not to take anything away from Jeremiah, because that kid is another amazing kid, and he's going to go far. But he won that fight. Then we turned him pro, and then we had 3 or 4 pro fights right off the bat that all fell through. One right after another, after another, after another. So,
They're scared.
well, it's just people falling out. So thank you to Hoff for getting us our first couple fights, first couple pro MMA fights. Then I mixed in, after those, we mixed in 3 professional boxing fights, and they were all won by stoppages, I believe. And then we went a while without another pro fight, and then we finally got 2 island fights. I know Mitchell and Richard Cox had him matched with a fight from one of their shows, their pro shows, and the opponent pulled out, so we ended up the next 3 fights for island fights up there, 3 MMA fights. So now he's 5-0 there, and he's 3-0 pro boxing.
That was awesome what Dean Toole did also. It's the first ever MMA and boxing
Yeah.
hybrid card on UFC Fight Pass. Like
Yeah.
to
That
be a
was
part of
great.
something, and then Roy Jones Jr.'s last fight.
I
So
was
jealous.
sitting from
So
here,
jealous.
from here to you, away from the ring, to watching Roy fight his final fight. I was leaning against the apron.
That's awesome.
So,
Is it fair to say he's the Anderson Silva of boxing?
oh yes, by far.
Yeah, right. That's a
I mean,
perfect.
and I
Still
see
good,
so
Max.
many people sit on Facebook and social media. Roy, retire. You're too old. You're going to get killed. This and that. Listen to me. I'm sitting 5 feet away from this guy throwing liver shots, and I'm like, man, look at the juice he's putting on these punches.
Yeah.
And he's a year older than me, and he's just laying them in there, and I'm like, wow. That boy still got some work
He
left
has
in
the
him.
video.
36 years old.
He got one fight left coming. Yeah, nice try. I wish.
His like tongue is out, and then like he's punching him without looking. I keep seeing that video
Yeah.
pop up. I'm like, come on, you're doing
Yeah.
that magical stuff.
Hey, that was not like just some pushover opponent. That boy, that kid's
Yeah.
had some fights. He's got some fights under his belt and everything. So, Dean Toole, once again, unbelievable matchmaker and promoter. I mean, the show up there was sold out. The place was a huge arena, and
I
you
said
couldn't
people were
move.
standing on the
You
rafters,
couldn't
just-
move.
Yeah.
It was just so many people, thousands and
We're gonna
thousands.
get locked in up there. That's for one. Two, we also had Devin Cushion on the show last week.
That's
gonna
my-
go out tonight.
that's
or
my boy.
tomorrow. Yeah, it's a great interview. And another Facebook question.
This one's again for Taylor. Debbie Gamble says, "Where do you go from here?" We're at the April 7th fight, right?
Yeah.
Yep, April 7th will be the next fight.
If anything comes up before that, would you guys be like, oh,
Yes.
we
Oh
get-
my gosh. Yes. Oh no doubt.
Isn't
I was in the
Isn't Breakthrough
gym.
MMA March 24th here in Daytona?
I think he postponed the show for right now. Jason is he's a great friend. He's like one of my brothers also, but he's got another business going, True Tech AV and stuff.
Okay.
They do all that. Man, he's just killing it right now with that.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I love hearing that.
Dave,
And so plug that
all these
the-
great questions. You ask if
Yeah.
she wants to fight. I know.
Sometimes people
Yeah,
get
yeah,
locked
yeah.
into a
I
spot.
understand.
Okay, April 7th, you like the wordplay, but
Yeah.
something happens
No.
March 8th. You're like, yeah, hell yeah.
I
Give me
Is
just-
there
that.
another
Okay.
question?
Guys, if
I was
you're
just gonna say that April 7th it's Orlando Live Events.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where can people get
Combat
tickets for
MMA?
that?
Yeah.
I don't know if tickets are on sale yet or not or whatever, but I'm sure as soon as they are, we'll start sharing the link to it and everything. Mitchell will have all the information up soon. You know, he's Mitchell's one of the best promoters
Mitchell.
in Florida.
Get with us.
Yeah, Mitchell,
Dave.
you need locked in, get involved with the show and everything. I know Mitchell's got the best cards going and
Yeah.
stuff. He works so
Podcasting,
hard.
promoting. We're
But
in.
these are my boys up here. They take good care of us, so they're good for the show.
Do you have anybody you want to shout out personally before I debate a couple matches with you? I know I put you on the spot. I apologize.
Listen, I got. First of all, the biggest and foremost person to shout out is my wife, the one who sits at home and deals with all this crap that I put her through, and being gone all the time on the road, at the gym every night, and this and that. You know, I get one night a week I spend with her. At Thursday night, I stay home from the gym, and by Thursday night I'm dead tired anyway, so I'm in bed by 8:00. But that's she puts up with most of the crap. But
Yeah.
I have John Radford at the gym. You know, I've already said that he's worth his weight in gold, and he's like my own family. And now I have a new boxing coach that's part of our team now.
Yeah, Jason. Right?
Jason
He's a nice
Bailey
guy.
is. He's got a long line in boxing. He's been around forever, so he's. I'm glad to have him part of the team, and all the rest of my people at my gym, all my kids, even all the way down to 4 years old, all the way up to hell. We got people in their late 60s and
Yeah.
stuff.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
I
You
was-
have to have a good supporting crew if you want to succeed.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
There's so many people that like support me, and it's crazy to think like even when I was doing weightlifting, so many people followed me, and it's just so insane to see like how time changes and how everything goes by. But I just want to say thank you to my grandmother.
Yeah, my mom.
Like
She's the best support system anywhere.
she she deals with me all the time, and I don't know how she does it, but she I didn't have my mom in my life, and she's like the closest figure I have besides him. And I love you so much, Grandma, and I do this for you, and I know you hate seeing me get punched in the face, but
When
I
you
really
do,
do.
get punched in the face.
when I get paid one day,
we
I'll
just
get
did what we did last week at
Yeah,
Spartanburg.
and definitely Michael Davis, and he means so much to me, and I'm so thankful to be so close to somebody, and I'm in love with everything about him, and I'm thankful to have him, as training me as much as he does and dealing with me, and he really helped my mentality 100% with all of this. And I'm thankful for him.
we just have to work with his wardrobe a little bit, right?
Yeah, we got. He wants to do a different character every way.
Yes.
Dye your hair. I know, man.
That's a
No.
gimmick. That could be
Yeah,
something.
when you think of Khabib, you think of
The afro.
There's a word for it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's like something
Gimmick.
to do with the culture. Yeah, but
Oh,
I'm
you
talking about
talking about Khabib.
it's not just a hat. But yeah, you think of the hat.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Hilarious.
cowboy. You think of
Yeah.
the cowboy hat.
He's so funny.
Can we please get into UFC? I have sparked this debate. I know you guys are the biggest Joanna Jacek fans,
Yes.
and I know you guys like Rose as well, right?
She
I
was
like
here
Rose.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Joanna,
Yeah.
I'm
she's here for the 500.
Yep.
The 500, right?
Yeah.
She didn't get in the studio.
Nope.
You didn't reach out to her.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. I'll take the L. So who do you guys have, Rose or Joanna?
Joanna.
I love both of them, so it really breaks my heart to pick either one. But I think Joanna's going to come back on this one.
I like
Wow,
Rose
so
too.
I'm the outlier on that one. I think Rose can.
I
do it
think
again.
she'll do well. I think she'll handle herself.
Either way it goes, I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah,
You know what I
really.
mean?
Really?
It's-
Good
yeah,
point.
it's-
Yeah.
Or
Either way it
disappointed.
goes.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
go
won't be
decision.
disappointed either way, and I won't be surprised whoever wins because I love both of them. I think
Yeah.
they're both phenomenal.
I just think Joanna's a champion.
Yeah.
And she just
She
has an
does-
it factor about her, and she loses, and everyone loses sooner or later.
Yep.
But I think she will revenge that.
I think
really
she
do.
will
I think
too.
she's got that little spark, the heart. I think Joanna will win this one, and there will be a trilogy
You're gonna leave that blank until it happens.
until it happens. We'll go to the trilogy when it happens.
Yep.
Khabib, Tony.
Khabib.
Could be at
I'm
the
sorry.
Falcon
No,
House
no, no,
or
no.
live in Brooklyn.
We'll be
I
live.
think
Brooke.
Everybody's picking Khabib, and for rightfully so. He's a great fighter, but I'm going with Tony.
I knew he was gonna say it before he said anything. Let's go.
That jiu-jitsu that boy got.
He is great. And
Yeah.
what I told Dave is, if he gets taken down and gets the crap beaten out of him the first 2 rounds, I still think he wins
Yeah.
because his heart, his conditioning.
Yeah.
Well,
He's a
Khabib is
threat
a
everywhere.
monster. He never stops, and that wrestling he's got. I mean, his top control is phenomenal.
It is. I'm not
So-
taking anything away from
but-
Khabib. You always look at.
But Tony can work off his back too. So
Yeah, Eddie
But-
Bravo.
I'm only going with Tony because everybody else is saying Khabib.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Okay.
All right, that's my main 2 because I'm the outlier on pretty much both of them. Well, Rose is kind of
Yeah.
50-50.
You know I was Mrs.
Yeah.
Rose on the first fight.
Yeah, it was Dimitri said Joanna too. So
Ooh,
Yeah.
smart
Okay.
man.
Yeah,
He
I was
knows.
I think
Smart
Rose
man.
just has a
Yeah.
unique mentality. Like she's not afraid of her,
No.
and she's done it once.
I
I don't think it'll
thought-
be the same fight, even if she
Yeah.
wins. I
If
think
she
it'll be tougher.
wins,
I
I
don't-
will not be disappointed at all because I love that kid. She's
Yeah.
she's fighting truly from her heart.
She had the best post interview of all time.
Yep.
Like to make the world a better place. You could have said, "I'm so happy I'm champ," but you'd think of the world. I just
Yeah.
wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Okay, my introduction. I said let's get locked in. So did you guys think of one? It's not my fault this time.
Producer, you want to go? You got one or? Anyone on Facebook have one? No, I got one. I got a good one.
I did
Can
too.
I
We
want me to
didn't
start this
usually
off?
talk about ours. I have a feeling it's the same thing. So go ahead.
I'm going to start this off, and then maybe you guys can, get with it, with where I'm going with it. This Saturday, Orlando UFC Fight Night. I got Mike Perry with a first round TKO win. Michael Perry gets
So you-
in there, gets out of there quick.
I'm sitting here racking my brain, and then he's gonna steal my crap.
That was the. I was gonna
Mic
wait till
drop.
I was gonna wait till he finished. I'm like, I'm gonna do one with Mike Perry because his fight's close. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I just have a weird feeling
Yep.
you're doing that.
Exactly.
So I have something up my sleeve. Do you guys want me to go next or?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think it's UFC 223 is the Khabib Tony
Yeah.
Yes.
In Brooklyn-
April
in
7th,
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
with
Barclays
the
Center.
Rose and Joanna.
Yes. Yeah.
I have Michael Davis on the Brooklyn card.
Oh,
And that's locked
he
in.
better give me a ticket.
And not only is that locked in, the
tell
locked
him
in,
right now. He just joined.
Michael Davis.
He's
Mike, my boy,
Wait.
Beast Boy.
It's been 40 minutes, Mike.
Yeah, what are you doing? We're fighting. No,
He was
no,
doing
we're
his
fighting.
hair.
My locked in is that you are going to be on the Brooklyn card, and we are coming with you. We're going to get locked in, and we want to support you throughout the whole way. And
Wow.
we'll be the first ever live podcast event at a UFC event. Has that been done?
That hasn't been done.
That's my locked in.
We break walls down.
They'll probably throw you out of the damn building.
Yeah, I know, but we'll be there to support. So-
They're tailgating in the parking lot with locked in.
you guys got it?
Go ahead, Sparky.
Joanna by KO.
Oh.
Any round.
Do you have
Any
a round?
round.
Do you have a round?
I'm kind of feeling 3. I'm gonna go with 3.
okay.
Round
Like
3.
a war, or is she just demolishing?
No, it's gonna be a
everything?
war.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
It's gonna be a war.
And I have Joanna winning. I think it's still a war.
Yeah.
Neither one, I don't think, will dominate the other one.
I
They're
don't
both
think-
just two
Yeah.
top-end
I don't think it's gonna go to decision at all. I think it's
I
gonna be
agree
a
with
finish.
that. I think whoever wins, they finish.
Yeah.
All right, coach. The pressure's on you.
Oh, boy.
Save the best for last.
I don't even. I got obviously have Michael Davis winning winning his UFC debut.
Oh, yes.
I have Anderson within the next 2 months back in the cage or somewhere.
good.
You gotta go there.
I have
You gotta be
a
everywhere.
couple different things, I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. But I got Mike Perry winning, obviously, probably second round. Could be first or second rounds. Definitely with a KO. Because Mike's my boy. I love that kid.
Yeah, he's a warrior.
Yeah, he
just-
is.
He's
one
an
of those guys.
entertaining
He's a fighter. He's
Yeah.
a fighter.
He's got the strongest. Him and Alex are the strongest clinch games, and coming out of the clinch with the elbows, the knees, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when you got a guy like Mark Nicholson, who was a world-class kickboxer, teaching you all that stuff over the years, Mark drove them around everywhere as their amateurs, did all this stuff, took them everywhere, did everything for them, and it's worked out. It's proved.
He
And
hit
that's
that
what I
knockout
do
of the year with the elbow.
I use what Mark did for Alex and Mike. Well, that's what I do for her and for Mike Davis and everybody. I'll take them wherever the best work is, and we'll get it.
Awesome.
Devin Gator, shout out to you. Actually, I know it's almost over. I just had something that sparked, and you said about boxing and MMA. I feel like women's or females MMA is at a higher level right now than boxing's.
Yeah.
So this is
I
why
think
I
so.
made the decision
Yeah.
to go to MMA.
Smart
She
man.
was.
He told you he knew what you were thinking.
I look at Clarissa Shields, who's a great kid, and she's the first woman to win a gold medal in boxing,
Mhm.
2 times, and she was having a hell of a time trying to get money from sponsors and everything
Yeah.
else in the Olympics and all that. So I was talked to a couple people, and I could have pushed her with a couple more fights and brought her into going to nationals and stuff like that
Sure.
for boxing, but there's no money in it.
Yeah.
So when you go MMA right now,
It's-
the sponsorship, in order for her to train as much as she is and do everything that she's doing, it's costing a fortune. This trip to South Carolina just cost me like almost $600. But these are sponsors, all the sponsors, those long list of people, man, the people that contribute, that's the only way we could do this, because I don't have all that crazy kind of money to do this. Half the people in my gym train there because I just let them train because they don't have money or stuff like that. So while everybody else is trying to charge $150 a month for all these kids to come in and train, not that I'm offering free memberships to anybody, but I'm not going to. I don't refuse people from training because of that. So in
That's
return,
amazing.
I'm not lining my pockets either. I still work a regular job every day.
Yep.
And I just do my thing. But it's the sponsors, man. You guys don't even have any idea, how much you guys are needed and how much you help. And you're the ones that are really getting these guys to that level. So thank you
Thank
to
you.
all of you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
And we need more. I want more kids to go to Pete White's gym, and I definitely want to build that up, booster that up. My son was going, loves it. Taylor's the coach. He loves her. It's definitely a thing. More kids go to the gym. Parents take their 5, 7, 8-year-old boy, girls, get them in the gym. Great discipline. It's great. It's a good workout.
Yeah.
Get them. Stop watching iPads. Just
Yep.
go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Put that stuff down.
Yep.
Is what if we, like a basketball team, know a lot of players, athletes. I'm always wondering, they would be great at another sport.
Yeah.
So I really want to,
A lot of kids are getting away from the traditional stuff. I mean, football's
Yeah,
always football, but
they need
a
to
lot
come
of
do MMA at
A lot
your
of kids.
gym.
I have so many parents that call me and they're like, "Yeah, my son was playing baseball. He was doing this and playing basketball, and then he says, but he wants to try boxing or because MMA. Everybody's getting into that whole ordeal.
Yeah,
They all want it. That's the new thing. It's the new baseball.
It's
or
a new
whatever.
trend.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think it helps so much. Not just like going into boxing or fighting, but like before this, like I started actually like getting serious about it, and after weightlifting and everything, like I was so depressed. Like I was always sad. I had nothing to do. And then I found the calling, and it just helped me and so much. And like I don't do this for money. I didn't even know until like 2 years ago you get paid for this, and I know he doesn't do it for the money.
Yeah.
I don't care
Love
about
for the
any of
sport.
that. I do it because, you know, I want to be known as a good fighter, but, you know, I want to be known as a good person. Not just like, yeah, no, she knows how to punch. Like, I have a good heart, you know, and I think that's the most important thing. And that's why I respect Rose so much for doing something that no other champion has ever done. And it helps a lot. And I think, you know, everyone needs a hobby to do. Just like you guys are amazing at the mic, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
It's a big deal when you're dealing. A lot of kids have a lot of anger issues and stuff
Sure.
like that. Anger, depression, stuff like that. So there's a channel.
There's not
they
an
use
outlet
it.
for the kids
Yeah.
to do it.
And they use it like this. And how many people come to me, their parents come to me, hey, well, this one's messing up in school, this and that. If you're not doing good in school, you ain't training. So your grades better be on point or you're not coming in the gym. I don't care about membership money or anything else. That don't matter. If your grades aren't good, you're not training.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's so many things that, you know, I make them do all that. They got to clean the gym. They got to help. Everybody's got to contribute and stuff. So you got to pay your dues, you know.
Thank you guys so much for coming to the studio, and you guys know you're always welcome. Anytime.
Brother, it's always a blessing. I know if I need to say something, I'll give you a call, and I know I can get in here and get
Anytime
it squared up. So
Awesome.
you know I love you
Congrats.
guys.
1-0, 1 down.
Yeah.
You know, 26 more.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see what we can do over the next 2 years.
Awesome, guys. Everyone that
Thank you.
tuned in, thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon.
Apple Podcast, can't forget. If
Everybody
you
share
heard,
Yeah.
Everybody share it. Share this Facebook
Thank
feed. Share it so everybody gets it.
Download, subscribe.
Taylor shirt, the
Yeah.
best shirt I've ever seen.
I know. Susie was wearing it
The
all day
link.
today.
Yes. Buy Taylor's shirt. Also, Apple Podcast to listen to this. Locked in with 2 N's. Stitcher Radio if you have an Android. They
And
don't
please,
judge.
please, $5 Dunkin' Donut gift cards for me. It's
Yep.
expensive.
Yes.
You gotta have it, guys. $5 gift cards. All
Add
right.
me in there.
Like always, make sure you stay
Locked in.
Yeah, you now locked in with the best. We ain't rocking with the rest. And when it's game time, we gon' put you to the test. Come the ball, we hitting it, kicking it, or we dribbling, passing it, or we running, or it's the ring that we flip you in. So what's the news? You want the scoop? You gotta keep it locked. To David Max podcast through your speaker box. What's poppin', my friend? You know the drop in. And the only thing left to do is keep it locked in.